BJ Penn has made massive news. And the story I'm about to tell you, you're going to go, I better rewind that. I must have heard Chael wrong. No, you're going to hear me right. It's a pretty bizarre tale, but it goes something along the lines of this. BJ Penn's mother. And the Penn family is a very prominent family in Hilo. Very successful, very well respected. There was some political tie-ins where they were even elected to go on and do things. They're very well respected, nice people. I've been out to Hilo. I spent time with BJ Penn and his father and his brother. They're really nice people. Okay, you get it. BJ has come out and he wants this woman that's claiming to be his mother to be arrested. Arrested for being an imposter. They took his mother. I hope they didn't hurt her, but they took his mother and they have replaced her with a quasi lookalike. Like BJ knows it's not her, but the rest of the world doesn't. Oh, by the way, what is the motive for this? Well, this new woman who's going to claim to be the mom is also going to make a claim to the family's assets. And BJ wants her to get arrested. Now, the very loving mother comes out and she does an interview to let the world know that she has not been abducted and she is not an imposter and she is in fact BJ's mother. Okay. Now, if that's not the goddamnedest story that I've ever heard, it's definitely the damnedest story I've ever told you. Why do I take the time to make this piece? Well, because there's some real concern for BJ Penn's mental health. There's some real concern for how did he get to this conclusion. And I'm just here to offer you one thing. I don't know, and I have not spoke to BJ. I just know that I have seen BJ perform before. And he's a very good performer. I've known BJ a very long time. That would break my heart if this were true. This whole thing would break my heart. I'm just not convinced that we're not pawns in the middle of some type of a marketing angle. BJ Penn had done one when he was fighting, and I tell you this, I mean, that could be really heavy-hearted. I'm attempting to come at you a little bit more lighthearted. So as this story envelops, all right, BJ Penn had worked this angle one time, and I'm trying to think what it was, because it had to do with George St. Pierre, and it had to do with training. And was it a letter? Was it a letter BJ claimed that he received? But it was from George's team, George's greatest inner circle. And even if I'm just a little bit off on this, all right, guys, it was 2008 when this happened, but I remember being in England on a bus and asking BJ about it. And he tried to stay in care. Now, I knew it wasn't true. I knew there was no letter, there was no angle, there was no plant in George St. Pierre's camp. I knew the whole thing was a work. But we'd never had a work done in MMA before. That was wrestling. It had never been done in MMA, and never by anybody like BJ. That's what made this so great. And George St. Pierre, who was so image conscious, I mean, George really did everything right. You want to talk about a guy that's got a squeaky reputation? It's George, but it also matters to him. So when BJ's coming out with a story, to any degree, it's going to get to George. Like, George does not want to be in the media for anything, particularly something that could look against the spirit of martial arts, which, if there was a plant, would be unloyal at a minimum. And two, if it's a work and it didn't happen, it would be dishonest. Like, that would be inhonorable to George, which is why this works so well. And when I asked BJ about it, he tried to stay in character. He tried to go, no, man, I really did. I don't know why I think letter. I don't know, was there an email? I don't know why I keep going back to letter. That's my memory. But whatever this was, and BJ's like, yeah, no, I couldn't believe it, man. Out of nowhere, this guy contacts us and he starts telling us these things. And I'm looking at him, and I've known him too long. I've been to Hilo. I've fought on the BJ promotions. He'd been to Team Quest. We trained together. Like, it's different. And I just smiled at him. I just smiled that he stayed in character. he saw me smile and he broke for a brief second. For a brief second, he laughed and then he tried to put it back together and goes, no, but it really happened. But it was too late. It was too late. And I only share with you, he was going to take that to the grave. He's still never come out to you guys and tell you about the letter and the same, whatever that was. I'm not quite remembering that. Did it have to, was there grease? Was there something about this? At any rate, he still has never come out and broke character. So if you see BJ and you see him doing something, I would first encourage you to enjoy the entertainment if there is some. Now, if there's something more sinister here that we have to deal with, perhaps I'll have to come back and do a rebuttal to this. But for now, you're dealing with a very smart guy. And you're dealing with a guy that sold a lot of pay-per-views. And you're dealing with a guy that was a promoter himself at one point. You're dealing with a storyteller. Before you go check BJ into the insane asylum, make sure it's not you that's being the fool.